Distinguished guests, excellencies, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to host you here at the Orbeliani Palace, and it is my pleasure to do so when your conference is meeting in Tbilisi for, if I'm not mistaken, the 8th time, and each time you're coming to Tbilisi for what we qualify as very important moment. And it has been true that each time it was an important moment in the history of this country. But I think that this year it is a very, very special time. Not only an important moment, but a crucial one, and one that is existential for Georgia. I am not sure whether in the recent period we have had so decisive moments that we are going to have on the 26th of October. Georgia is really at a turning point. Georgian dream has ceased to be a dream. It has become a nightmare, which is taking Georgia away from what has been its long-standing goal, not a dream. It was never a dream, it was a goal. It was an ambition, it was an aspiration. And not only since the independence of Georgia 30-some years ago, but over centuries, Georgia has been always turning towards the West, towards Europe, and seeing itself as a very European country. It has always been looking at the West because it always wanted to be independent from empires, and especially from our northern neighbor. And today what is happening is a tragedy for Georgia. It's a tragedy when some, I'm not going to say we, but some call our main partners over the years war party, and do not say anything about the neighboring country that is occupying 20% of our territory. That is a tragedy. When you start mixing and not knowing where is your main orientation, that's a tragedy for a person, an individual, and it's a bigger tragedy for a country. And especially for a country like Georgia, that over centuries has always known how to protect its independence, how to protect its values and its cultural values. And these values, among these values, one of them was cherished by Georgians over the centuries, and that was tolerance, diversity. So the country that we're seeing today being presented is a country that is not Georgian. It is something different. It is a country that would be ready to submit to the occupier, would be ready to compose with the occupier, would be ready to turn its back on those that have supported Georgia and Georgian state over these past years and have really contributed, you all here present, to the construction of all the state institutions. We're seeing a country where almost all institutions have been emptied of their content and of their independence. One survives, more or less, it's the president's institution, but it has been also attacked. You all remember the impeachment procedure, and you all know that in terms of real power, except for the power of the word, the presidency has been denied gradually of almost all the powers to resist what is happening in the country. And we're seeing a Georgian dream, the ruling party, really moving first step by step and then in an accelerated way towards something that is completely aligned to this country. when we have the latest speeches from the honorary president of the Georgian Dream that practically declares war first on our partners and calls them as the parties of war, but also declares war on its own population, on the political forces in the country. When it is announced in advance that they're going to get constitutional majority, which is a dream of theirs, and they will banish the political parties or put them through the justice system, which doesn't exist anymore. We have seen the Constitutional Court yesterday and the day before, how it's now trying to justify against all reality that the Russian law is not really depriving Georgia of its European future, that it's not affecting our main orientation. So all of that is something that is not acceptable. It is not acceptable in the first place for the Georgian people, and the Georgian people have said twice already on the streets, last year and this year, in a very clear manner, that they do not accept what is happening in this country. They do not accept this new image of Georgia, and that they will not, are not ready to defer to this authoritative new regime and power. Now, there is a next step. What the Georgian people, what the Georgian youth, but not only the youth, we have tendency to say that these were only the young people, but it was a very massive protest. Now the next step is that the population has to come out and say the same thing in the most democratic manner, which is in their ballot. And that's the way to Georgian stability. I'm not among those that say, well, we'll see what happens at the elections and the next day we'll see what happens on the streets. No, what will happen in the elections, in the ballots. There is no power in this country that can run against the will of the people. There is no capacity to rig the elections to the point to go against a massive demonstration of will by the Georgian population. And I trust that the Georgian population will say its word at the elections. So when you are going to ask me, what can we do? You have done a lot. And you have done a lot to bring Georgia to where it is. And you've done a lot to forge the mentality, to support the mentality, because I think that in depth, it's Georgian mentality to be free, independent, and not accept any form of authoritative power, whether inner or from outside. But you have supported, by supporting the institutions, by supporting the development of the state, by allowing our youth to travel freely to Europe, to study freely in Europe or in the States, you have allowed to support and consolidate what is the Georgian fierce will for independence. So I'm trusting the Georgian people, I'm trusting what they will say in the votes. So that's where we do not need you. You have to monitor, you have to be attentive and present as you are today, but it's for us to decide. But the next day, you will find me. Because as you know, I have worked with the different political parties so that all the parties that are pro-European are united to commit to the Georgian Charter, which is in reality our way, our path to satisfy some of the recommendations of the European Union and our path to renew open the negotiations as It has been the case for our partners, Ukraine and Moldova. That charter is the key to this door that has to open for Georgia. And very certainly, once the Georgian people has supported both the charter and this pass very openly, I will be the ambassador of this charter to our European friends and American friends. So the Europeans will have to open the negotiations as fast as possible, and we have to deliver very quickly what is written in the charter, which is very detailed. And our American friends have to deliver on the Megobari Act, which is also very clear on its positive side. The negative is not for me to discuss, but the positive, once we have said and done what the Georgian people has to say and do, then we will have to ask you to be ever more supportive of Georgia for the next phase of our development. We have to do that in stability, and you need that type of Georgia, one that is resolutely back to its democratic path, and one that is a stable partner, one that you can trust. And if we look at the map of the world, this crucial year is not crucial for us alone. It's, we all know, very crucial for Ukraine. And we all know that the future of the free world depends very much on what will happen in Ukraine. And the future for us, closer to us, of the Black Sea, depends, and for you it's a very important future, depends on what will happen to Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia. We are those that can offer to our European friends and to our American and NATO partners a free, secure, and cooperative Black Sea, which is so important for the future of the Western partners as a whole, of Europe, and of the United States also. So we are all in the same boat. We have to do our share. You will have to do your share. And I'm very optimistic because I don't think that I do not believe in dreams, but I believe in what has been the destiny of this country, and it remains its destiny, and the Georgian people know that very well. Thank you very much.